everybody! Today, Honey is going to continue reading Wayside School Gets a Little Stranger, written by Louis Tracker and illustrated by Tim Hodge. Chapter 19, Time Out. Mrs. Zerbs taught the class on the 19th story. There is no 19th story, and there is no Miss Zerbs. You already know all that. But how do you explain the cow in her classroom? Mrs. Zerbs drew a triangle on the blackboard. A triangle has 3 sides, she said, that pointed to each side. 1, 2, 3. She drew a square. A square has 4 sides. 1, 2, 3, 4. She walked around the cow to the other side of the board. She drew a pentagon, a hexagon, and a perfect heptagon. A heptagon has 7 sides, she said. Miss Zerbs was very good at drawing shapes. When most people try to draw heptagons, there is always one side that sticks out funny. But Miss Zerbs' heptagon was perfect. Every side was the same length. Every angle was the same degree. It was a great talent, but nobody appreciated her. Nobody appreciated anything she did. It was like they didn't know she was there. She counted the sides of the heptagon. 1, 2, 3, 4. Moo, said the cow. Miss Zerbs dropped her chalk. She glared at the cow. I hate this, she shouted. It was a brown cow with a white head. It's all right, Miss Zerbs, said Virginia, her best student. I'll get the chalk for you. No, said Miss Zerbs, leave it where it is. The cow made me drop the chalk. The cow should pick it up. Her students gaped at her. I will not continue, said Miss Zerbs, until the cow picks the piece of chalk and draws an octagon on the board. She folded her arms across her chest, looked at the cow, then waited. Ray raised his hand. Yes, Ray, said Miss Zerbs, arms still folded across her chest. Cows can't pick up chalk, said Ray. Miss Zerbs sighed. I know, she said. I can't teach with a cow in my classroom. No one had ever seen Miss Zerbs so upset. She usually had a pleasant disposition. It's okay, Miss Zerbs, said Virginia. I don't mind the cow. You get used to it after a while, said Ray. What cow? Asked Nick. Oh, that one. I forgot it was there. Miss Zerbs smiled. She knew her students were trying to make her feel better. Other classrooms have goldfish or hamsters, said Virginia. It's really no different. No, said Miss Zerbs. I won't have it. All my life I've tried to be accommodating. I've never been one to complain. And what it has gotten me? A cow. She shook her head. When I was a little girl, my friends never did I wanted to, she said. I always had to do whatever they wanted to. And my teacher never called on me in the class. She always called on the kids who just shouted out without raising their hands. Even though she said she wouldn't. She'd say, I won't call on you if you don't raise your hand. But then she always did anyway. I thought I was a good girl. I never shouted out. And she always did things alphabetically, so I was always last, if there was time for me at all. My parents were too busy for me. They were always dressing up and going out to fancy parties. I had to tuck myself in bed at night and wish myself sweet dreams. She took a tissue out of her sleeve and wiped a tear from her eye. Still, I always tried to keep a smile on my face. Well, not anymore. The days of walk all over Miss Zerbs were finished. She threw open her classroom door. This squawky wheel gets the grease. What are you going to do? Asked Virginia. I'm going out there, said Miss Zerbs, and I'm not coming back until I get some grease. She stepped outside. She decided she'd go right to the top. She headed down the stairs to the principal's office. Joy and Marcia were coming up the stairs. Todd is uglier than stupid, said Marcia. You're crazy, said Joy. He's stupider than ugly. Ooh, teased Marcia. I'm going to tell Todd you think he's cute. Miss Zerves stepped in front of them. What are you children doing out of class? She asked. I didn't say he was cute, said Joy. He's just not as ugly as he's stupid. That means you think he's handsome, said Marcia. Are you going to marry him? I asked you a question, said Miss Zerves. Oh, gross, said Joy. I'm a teacher, said Miss Zerves. That means you're supposed to listen to me. Joy and Marcia walked right past her. Miss Zerves sighed, then continued down to Mr. Kidwater's office. She took a deep breath to steady her nerves. She was about to knock, but then she changed her mind and just marched right in. Hey, Kidwater, I want to talk to you. The principal was making a rubber band ball. Do you hear me? Asked Miss Zerves. He opened the desk drawer and looked for some more rubber bands. If you don't answer me right now, said Miss Zerves, I'm walking out of the door and never coming back. Mr. K pressed the buzzer on his phone. Miss Knight, you need to order more rubber bands. That's it, said Miss Zerves. I'm leaving. Goodbye. I quit. She walked out of the school and took a deep breath of fresh air. Please don't go, Miss Zerves, said a voice behind her. Startled, she looked around. We need you, said a bald-headed man. He was standing between two other men. Both was black mustache, and one carried a black attache case. The bald man didn't have a mustache. Can you see me? She asked. Yes, of course, said the bald man, and we appreciate all your hard work. You do? All three nodded very sincerely. Miss Zerves were touched. I've been teaching for 30 years, she said, and nobody had ever said that before. Well, it's not easy being a teacher, said the bald man. I don't get any respect, said Miss Zerves. People treat me like I'm a nobody. It's not easy being a teacher, said the man with the attache case. You had to work long hours for very little money. I've never gotten paid, said Miss Zerves, and this is the first time in 30 years I left the building. It's not easy being a teacher, agreed the other man with a mustache. Even the book I'm reading to my class, said Miss Zerves. The author makes fun of teachers. It's a tragedy, said the bald man. Then why do it? Asked Miss Zerves. Why teach anymore? I could quit and nobody would care. The children need you, all three men said together. Miss Zerves sighed. I like to teach, she said. I really do. I love the children. It's just... She stopped and wiped her eyes. The man with the attache case opened it. She took out a handkerchief and handed it to Miss Zerves. Thank you, she said, blew her nose, then gave it back to him. He placed it back in the attache case. Can you at least get the cow out of my classroom? She asked. The bald man smiled. I'll see what I can do, he said. Miss Zerves smiled as she slowly shook her head. Then she turned and walked back into the building. Elevator. Chapter 20. Elevators. Mr. Kidwater's voice came over the loudspeaker. Good morning, boys and girls. There was the usual pause. I have a very important announcement, said Mr. K. Elevators had been installed in Wayside School. For a second, the kids in the 30th floor were too stunned to speak. Then everyone went crazy. Yahoo! Yelled Sherry. Hot diggity dog! Shouted Damien. Everyone was yelling and jumping. Jippy-doo-dah! Shouted Mrs. Dressel. Cheers could be heard from every classroom in Wayside School. The higher the classroom, the louder the cheers. Now, before you all rush out and use the elevator, said Mr. Kidwater, I want to talk a little bit about elevator safety. I don't want the same kind of chaos that we had on the stairs every day. I don't know how many times I had to tell you. When you go up the stairs, stay to your right. When you come down the stairs, stay to the left. But still, everyone keeps bumping into each other. Well, that won't happen in the elevators. I have personally designed a special safety system. There are 2 elevators. One is blue, one is red. When you want to go up, you take the blue elevator. When you want to go down, you take the red elevator. It's that simple. It can't go wrong. The blue one only goes up and the red one only goes down. By the way, has anyone seen my coffee pot? And so at last, Wayside School got elevators, a blue one and a red one. They each worked perfectly one time and never could be used again. Chapter 21, Open Wide. The good news, Jason had to leave the school early. The bad news, he had a dentist appointment. I'll never eat candy again, he promised the tooth god as he headed down the stairs, and I'll brush my teeth after every meal. I promise. Even it's just a snack. I'll bring my toothbrush to school. Just please don't let her find any cavities. I've heard that song before, answered a voice inside his head. Every time you go to the dentist, it's the same thing. But then, a week later, you're eating candy and forgetting to brush your teeth. This time I really mean it, Jason promised. Too late, said the voice. An hour later, Jason was lying on his back on the dentist chair. Open, said the dentist. The dentist was named Mr. Payne. She had long fingers and even longer fingernails. Jason opened his big mouth. He had the second biggest mouth in his class. Wider, said Mr. Payne. Jason stretched his mouth until his cheeks hurt. That's good, said Dr. Payne. Now just a little bit wider. The veins in Jason's neck bulged out as he stretched his mouth even wider. His eyes watered. His throat was dry. Okay, just hold it like that, said Dr. Payne. She turned on the sucking machine and put a tube in Jason's mouth. The machine made a gagging noise as it sucked out its last drop of moisture. As Dr. Payne poked around at the teeth and said, "Tisk, tisk," and "oh my" several times. "How do you like school?" she asked. Said Jason. "What grades are you in?" Said Jason. "Well, just remember," said Dr. Payne, "it's very important to always listen to your teachers and do whatever they say." She poked a tooth with long pointed dentist tool. "Ah!" Jason screamed in agony. Did that hurt?" asked Dr. Payne. Jason shook his head. If he told her it hurt, she might think it was a cavity. If she couldn't find it herself, he certainly wasn't going to tell her about it. "Are you sure?" asked Dr. Payne. She poked the same spot. This time Jason didn't make a sound. Tears and sweat dripped out down his face. The representative came into the room. "Yes," said Dr. Payne. Jason was glad for the break. "Kendall's mother is on the phone," said the representative. "She refused to pay your bill." "What?" exclaimed Dr. Payne. "How dare!" "She said she pulled the wrong teeth." "Give me the phone," shouted Dr. Payne. The representative handed it to her. "This is Dr. Payne. What do you mean you're not paying your bill? Well then, just bring Kendall back here and I'll pull that one too. I'll pull them all, but you still have to pay me." "You're a lawyer. I don't care about your lawyer said. You can tell your lawyer to rub a monkey's tummy. You heard me. Rub a monkey's tummy with your head." She slammed down the phone. Jason looked at the diploma hanging on the wall. Before his dentist got married, her name was Jane Smith. His big mouth opened wider.